Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Two Shores, One Story. I'm your host, and today is a special episode because it is episode 30. Wow, I can't believe it. Episode 30. And today, I wanted to talk about something very Japanese language-esque, and that is counters. Counters, as in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and maybe people or pens or that kind of stuff. Those are counters. And as I said before, it is episode 30. Now that is a counter. Did you really think about that? Probably not. But in Japanese, that would be dai san ju wa. Dai is something else, but sanju is 30, and that's 3 plus 10, sanju, and wa is the counter for episodes. And what's interesting about wa is it's the kanji for hanasu, means to talk, so that is interesting. But we don't need to go into too much detail with that. Well, I want to teach you the basic counters. Now, what's important in Japanese is that the counters, like English, the counter goes after the number. So it's the same in English as in 3 pens, 3 people. It's the same in Japanese, except there are suffixes and they attach to the number. So here are some basic ones I want. Well, first, before we go into counters, we need to know the basic numbers. So let's get started. So first is 1. Ichi. 2 is ni. 3 is san. 4 is shi or yon. 5 is go. 6 is roku. 7 is shichi or nana. 8 is hachi. 9 is ku or kyu, and 10 is ju. Interestingly, about 4, the number, why does it have 2 pronunciations? The first pronunciation of 4 is shi, and it's an unlucky number in Japan because shi is, there's a word in Japanese that is shinu, and that means to die. So it's bad luck. So they have another pronunciation for 4. And also, 4 is their unlucky number. So if you go to a hotel, there might not be a 4th room. Like there might not be 2 or 4, for example. It might be 2 or 3 and then 2 or 5. They might skip 4. So if you're ever in Japan, look for that. Okay? So those are the basic numbers. And with that, we can get started with the basic counters. So the first one is ko. And ko is used for little things, little items such as fruit. So you can say, ringo o ikko tabemashita. I ate 1 apple. So the apple is a small thing. And you heard I said ikko, not ichiko. But sometimes when you combine counters, the sound of the number changes. I think in this case, it's easier to say ikko rather than ichiko, so they changed it. Okay. Next one, really, really, really important. When you go to a restaurant, they will ask you how many people. It's the same in Canada. How many people for the table, right? And you need to know the people counter. And that is nin. Nin. And the kanji will be the person kanji. But you don't use the ichi-ni-san numbers. There is another set of numbers that you would use, and that is hitotsu, futatsu, 3つ、4つ、5つ、6つ、7つ, 8つ, 9つ, and to. Well, actually, I lied. You'll only be using 2 of those, and that's 1 and 2. The rest you can use the native or the other numbers. So it's confusing, isn't it? Counters are really hard in Japanese. That's what I've learned. But hitotsu or hito and futa you will use a lot. So, for example, one person is hitori. Hitori. Okay? One person. So if they ask you how many people, you can say hitori. If not, if you have more than one person, maybe 2, you would say futari. Futari. And then it goes back to the other numbers. 3nin, 4nin, not 4nin, 4nin, 5nin, 6nin, 7nin, and so on. And yeah, interesting, hey? Hitori, one person, also can be used as alone. So, hitori de koen ni ikimashita. I went alone to the park. So that's interesting. So you can use that too. Often it helps, even if you don't know the counter, you can just like point or use the numbers. Use your hands to show the numbers. So 2 with the fingers, give them a little peace sign and they would know. But it's always good to know the counter as well. Next, we can talk about animals, and those have a counter called hiki. Now, in Japanese, this one is good in that it doesn't use the other counters like hitotsu, futatsu. It uses the other numbers, but when the numbers combine, depending on what number it is, the hiki part may change to make it easier to say. So, we already experienced ikko, and it's the same as for hiki. So it's not ichi hiki, it's ippiki. So there's a P sound. It's not ihiki, it's ippiki. Next is 2, and that's normal, ni hiki. Then 3 would change, not to hi or p, but bi. So sanbiki. Sanbiki. And those are animals. So 1 hiki, ippiki, ni hiki, sanbiki. 1 animal, 2 animals, 3 animals. Okay? Next one, you all have probably heard before, and that's en. Do you know what that would be? What is en? In English, we don't say en, but we say yen. So en is the counter for money. And this one's pretty easy. You just add the number. But in Japanese, you need larger numbers because they have a larger, just different way of saying the dollars or whatever, the yen. So 100 is 100. 100. 100 is 100. And it is 100 yen is 100 yen. 100 yen. This is the equivalent of $1 in Japan. 100 yen. Next is sen. Sen is 1,000. Sen. So 1,000 yen, and that's the equivalent of $10. Then we have ichiman. That is 10,000 yen. And ichiman en is 10,000 yen, and that is the equivalent of, you guessed it, $100. Okay? So if you're ever in a store, you can use these counters, or they might say it to you. They might ask for that amount of money. These are really important to know. And after you're done shopping, you might look at the time and think, oh, I need to go. But how do you say time in Japanese? So second is bio. minute, depending on the number, is fun, pun, or bun. The hour is the same. It's always ji. And we can also go into day, week, month, and year. So the day is nichi. Week is shunkan. Shukan, sorry, there's no N in there. Shukan. Month is getsu. Or gatsu, I think. Gatsu. And year is nen. Enien, nen. So, for, let's say, you're not going to really use second that much, but time is very important. So, if you wanted to say 30 minutes, again, we add 3 plus 10, so that's sanju. Sanju fun. Sanju pun. Sanju pun, sorry. Sanju pun. If you wanted to say 1 minute, ippun. Second or 2 minutes, nifun. 3 minutes, sanfun. So that's how it goes. I don't think there actually is a bun for this. So it's fun or pun. And hour, let's say it's 6 o'clock, rokuji, 6:30, rokuji, han. We don't really say, you can say rokuji sanjupun, but most people say rokuji han. And han is literally half. So just six half really is what it is. But you can also say sanjupun if you really wanted to. If you wanted to give a more specific answer like 6:35, then you would use the time. Rokuji sanju go fun. Go fun. Okay? Hours, well, hours or days, one day, I don't really know if you use it, but I think it would be suitachi kan, or ichinichi. Suitachi is used for the first day of the month, and it's very confusing because it's not really used anywhere else. The first day of something would maybe be ichinichi, perhaps, but 2 days or the second day of the month is futsuka. Okay, then it goes, futsuka is second, so 3 is mikka, 4 is yokka, 5 is itsuka, yes. 6 is muika, 7 is what? 7 is nanoka, I think. Yes, nanoka. 8 is yoka, and 9 is kokonoka, and 10 days is toka. Okay, so if you're using the calendar, you'll be suitachi, futsuka, mika, so on. And then after that, once it's past 10, it becomes the normal number, like juichi, 11, plus nichi. Juichi nichi, 12 nichi, 13 nichi, 14. I hope you're realizing how fun counters are, because they're great. With all sarcasm aside, it is a bit hard to learn at the start, but once you get used to it, it will be okay. And they're really important, and they're used very often, so you kind of have to learn them. So, yeah. Now, on to some really fun things. Japanese, uses counters for items, and well, there's one counter that kind of it's a general use, and I think you could get away with it if you didn't know other counters. So that's the tsu. So hitotsu, futatsu, mitsu. I said that before, but you can use tsu for general things if you don't know the counter. But depending on the shape of the thing, it might have a different counter. What? Yes, it's crazy. So, for example, in Japanese, cylindrical items use the counter hon. this is for lawn objects that are cylindrical. And the hon means book. So it's ippon, nihon, sanhon, sanbon, yoppon, roppon, gohon, toka. So you would say that. So with this counter, I actually have a funny story, because what was it, last year in November, I think my ALT friends and I went to a sushi restaurant, and I ordered cucumber sushi, or kappa sushi. I love kappa sushi, and I only wanted 4 small sushi. I didn't want a big one, right? But in my mind, I kind of forgot that hon was for lawn objects, lawn cylindrical items. So I asked the sushi master, for 4 sushi, thinking that it was just like 4 little pieces on a plate, right? But when I got the plate, there was 24 sushi little pieces on a plate, and I realized I messed up. What happened is that I asked for 4 lawn cylindrical items. So I asked for 4 big sushi, and he cut it into, 6 pieces each, and that was 24. And all my friends laughed so hard, and I realized I learned a new counter then. If you want 4 small pieces, it's for sushi, it's kan. Wow. I didn't know that. So, I did eat all the sushi. I loved kappa sushi, so I was like, okay, I'll eat all of it. But I wasn't too sure if I would be able to. But that is a funny story on why counters are so important. Because if you want 4 little sushi and you ask for yoppon, you could be in trouble. So be careful. Don't do what I did. Don't do what I did. Okay, if you wanted to read more on counters, you might need some books, right? But how do you say 1 book, 2 book, 3 book? Good question. That is satsu. So, isatsu, nisatsu, sanzatsu, yonsatsu. You use satsu. 1 book, 2 book, 3 books, 4 books. But what happens if you just want some paper? Maybe a flat object, like tickets or paper. That is mai. Mai. What? Yes. And this one's easy because it doesn't change, and it uses the basic number. Ichimai, nimai, sanmai, yonmai, gomai, rokumai. So that's great. Now, you might be wondering, how many times does it take to learn the counters? I would say 100 kai. 100 kai. So kai means times. The kanji for kai literally means revolution, as in like 1 full revolution. And it's kai. Yeah, so kai. So 1 kai, 2 kai, 3 kai, 4 kai, 5 kai, 6 kai. 6 kai, 6 kai. So in a sentence, Canada ni, if I were to go to Canada 2 times or twice, Canada ni 2 kai ni ikimashita. So you would say that. But there's another kai as well, so you got to be careful, because kai can also mean the floors of a building, but it's a different kai. So there's 1 kai, 2 kai, 3 kai, first floor, second floor, third floor. Wow. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's crazy. Lots of counters that you there's too many. There's too many things that exist There's too many counters, and there's some irregular ones that we don't even use ever. But those are the basic ones. Those are the basic counters. And hopefully you're still interested in learning Japanese. I hope. Yeah. So, I hope that you learned something about Japanese, and I hope that if you're ever in Japan, you can use these counters, and hopefully you can, tell the waiter or waitress how many people are coming. You can buy the proper amount of tickets. You can get the amount of books you want. You can do a lot with counters. So, with that, see you later.